The year is 1995. And are you telling me that Amy Heckerling does not have a movie on the AFI Top 100 list? Oh, whatever. The movie? Clueless.
People, welcome. I don't know what Amy already has told you, so let's just jump in like the show's just starting right now. I'm Paul Scheer.
I'm Amy Nicholson.
And every week we do this show called Unspooled, where we talk about the greatest movies of all time, or what the AFI deems is the greatest list of all time. But we wanted to take a moment to salute the films that may not belong on this list, but are special, special films. And I know, Amy, I know you referenced your amazing shirt, and I want to just call attention to it. It's awesome.
Thank you.
And before this pandemic hit our country, Clueless was about to celebrate its 25th anniversary. 25 years. We're going to have special screenings all around the country. It did not happen. And 25 seems so old because when I saw this movie, it seems like just yesterday, Amy.
Yeah, this is really maybe one of my first favorite movies. I felt like it was of my generation, the generation I wanted to be, that I wanted to go to the mall and buy all of the clothes from Clueless and pretend that this is who I was going to grow up to be, somebody half as cool as Cher Horowitz, which does not happen when you're in suburban Texas, but you can really give it a shot.
You know, I wanted to play a game with you really quickly. I wanted to see if you could guess what is older or younger than this movie. All right, so for example, Miley Cyrus, older or younger than this movie?
Younger.
Miley Cyrus is older. She's 27.
Yeah,
I mean, how about Timothée Chalamet?
younger.
Yes, he's 24. Or how about the movie The Usual Suspects?
Younger. I know this one. Yes, younger?
No, it's exactly 25. Yes.
A twin? That's not fair. Can you be a twin?
And what about Scream?
Scream is younger. Younger.
It is younger. It's 24
Yes.
years. I'm going to ask a couple more. Salt and Pepper's Shoop.
Is older.
You're right, 27 years. All right.
You are making me access all of my 5th grade dances information.
I love it all. How about this Montel Jordan classic? This is how we do it. Older or younger?
Younger.
That is exactly 25.
You a double
there.
twin? What are you? As a
Yeah,
Gemini,
I
I would like to disqualify twin answers.
And how about this one? One final one. The Furby. Older or younger?
Older.
Younger, 22. Furby is younger than this movie. Amy, wow, this movie makes me, now that knowing it's 25 years, makes me feel a little bit old. You know, this is a, you know, but it's a kind of a timeless movie. I just watched it obviously for this, and I enjoyed it so much.
Me too. And we have so many things that we want to talk about. I actually have my own older and younger quiz that I was going to throw out to the crowd, but now I just want to torture you. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see about that.
All right, well, I can't wait. And you know, this movie is about love, and we did bring on a relationship expert tonight to talk about love. So we wanted to, you know, reach out to everybody watching tonight. If you are, you know, #stay home, you probably are wondering about that person you were texting before you went into this, or maybe you're looking to find love. We're going to help answer those questions tonight. So send them up on the chat below, and we will start bringing in our relationship expert. She'll help you with some of these love advice questions.
Do we have any questions to start with?
I do. Do we have our guest?
Oh, do we have our guest? She'll be here in 30 seconds.
All right. Well, this is great.
Well, Paul, I want to ask you this. Did you have a serious girlfriend in high school?
You know, I dated a girl that I used to work at the Blockbuster Video with, and it was kind of serious, but I went to like a private school, like a Catholic school, and she went to a public school, and I feel like it was kind of a, you know, I feel like we never could quite connect. We weren't at the same school. I feel like when you're that young, you need to kind of live close to each other to make it work. This is pre-car.
30 seconds.
All right, well, this is...
Hello.
Hello. Well, here's our special guest. Oh my gosh. Welcome.
Am I early? Am I late? What's going
You're
on?
perfect. You're perfectly on time. This is Rana.
How are you staying so handsome in quarantine, Paul?
You know, I'm just trying to get some sleep, moisturize. You look fantastic as well.
Thank you, dear. And the lipstick on Amy, is she fabulous?
I dressed up for you. I'm
I
so jealous of your outfit.
I love your outfit for this movie. It's pretty, and I love the yellow as a nod to Cher.
Gotta do it. Gotta do it.
Fabulous.
Now, Rana, you have your own podcast called
do.
Ask Rana with you and Brian Safi. It comes out every Tuesday. You're giving advice all the time about relationships. You know a lot about relationships. I would say that you've been around. You have a good worldview about things.
Well, that's very kind of you. I've been around the block, Paul, you could say.
Yeah.
So I know a thing or two about relationships, or I know what I know. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So
all right.
everybody might not agree with me, but I know what I know. If that makes any sense.
No, it does. You know, we
We'll
actually
share
have
with your wonderful guests or your
lot
listeners.
about relationships. Well, we have a question from one of our listeners, Stephen Wagner, and he asks, "Is 5 years
Any
too
relation to
long?"
Robert?
You know, I don't know. I think it's spelled a little bit differently. I think it's a little bit. What do you think about Robert Wagner? You think he was guilty in that Natalie Wood issue?
I think there was something going on with him and Chris Walken. I think there was a scuffle, but I think there was a lot of alcohol involved, and it's hard to know exactly who's responsible.
It is. There's a great podcast out there that I don't remember the name of, and it really blew my mind. How kind of tangled and weird that whole night was.
It was a very troubled group, and I think on any given day, any one of them could have gone over the back of that boat.
Honestly, I think anytime you're sailing out to Catalina, you're already in trouble. I don't think that's a place. All right. So Stephen Wagner writes, "Is 5 years too long to be engaged?"
Well, it's not too long if you don't have any plans to get married.
Okay.
Okay. Let's put it that way. Some people only want to be engaged, and that's fine.
Right.
They don't have any plans to be. They're long-term partners. The engagement is close enough, and they're not dying to be married. Some people don't really want to be married. They just want to know they're committed to another person.
And that kind of gives you this answer of like, basically, like, we're engaged, get off our case. You don't have to ask us. Because when I got engaged, people immediately ask us, when's the wedding? It's like, well, this just happened. Like, let us have our time.
Well, here's the thing. If it's bothering you that people are asking, when are you going to get married? Then you shouldn't have gotten engaged. Because an engagement is an advertisement that says we're getting married. So people
it's like a coming soon billboard.
It is. It's a trailer. So people have a right to ask when the film is coming out.
Okay.
You don't get to let that bother you. You get to say, but you get to say, never. If we get married, we're not getting married, because if we get married, we'll want to get divorced. I always want what I don't have, or whatever it is. But people are within their right to ask when you get.
I like that.
You don't have to feel the pressure, but they are within their right to ask.
I think you're right. I like that idea that it is a coming attraction. Like, why are we teasing them with this thing and then getting mad at them for just simply?
You just can't get mad. You just have to accept that you're putting them off and that they're going to ask. So they ask, so you answer. That's it.
What about a question that comes from somebody a little bit earlier on their relationship status? This is from Cecily B. She says, "What should I do if I was flirting with a guy in my college class and now the class is all online?"
Well, well, I guess the first question is what sort of communication she has with him. If she's willing to, send a shot across the bow, basically a warning shot, and see if she gets anything back.
You mean like slide into his course notes DM?
Exactly. I think with those Google Classrooms, they have ways of chatting with each other, or maybe there's a way, if she has his text while the class is happening, to say, is this guy going to go on forever? Or do you think he's wearing pants? Or, something cute. And if you get something back, you can keep it going. But I do think quarantine is very difficult in terms of momentum. And I think that so many people, their momentum and flow has been interrupted by this. So it's it's going to be very, some of that'll just be lost to the annals of history, and some of it'll reconnect,
Well, I've kind of heard a lot of people, and this is actually what somebody was asking about, like this idea of like first dates on Skype. Is it even worth it to do a first date on Skype? I mean, can you have a dating life over Skype?
Why not? You're bored to death. You know what I mean? If you can connect, I'm not suggesting, you need to get hot and heavy over Skype on the first date necessarily. Right. I mean, if you do, I suppose you do, but you'll have to live with having made that decision. and whether he's
Do,
got a camera or she's got a camera, or I don't know, or they have a camera, however
do
it
they have
works.
good lighting? I mean, that's
Do
the
they-
other thing. You have to
well,
come correct.
Very
I mean,
important. And in the New York Times last week, they asked Tom Forward, the fashion designer, the most fabulous man in the world, what a person should do when they're on a Skype. And his answers were pretty much the answer anyone would give, which is have a camera on the other side of your, have a light rather on the other side of your laptop so that you're getting direct light to your face. Have a
need
pretty
that.
good background. I mean, it's amazing to me what you see in people's backgrounds.
no, you can't
It was
have
like
anything
when people
embarrassing.
first did selfies. Remember, they'd have toilets behind them, or
Yes.
you know, a cat, whatever it is on John Oliver, a cat licking its own genitals, or what, you know. Have a look at what's going on in the frame.
I mean, because here's
give it
the
a little
moment.
thought.
All you have to do is create a 2x4 window. I mean, there's not much you have to do. Take down those embarrassing pictures.
Create a mood, though. Create a little mood. I mean,
You've created a great mood.
Take
I'm
a-
so
take a
entranced with your
note.
flowers.
I was going to say, take a note from Amy. Look at that gorgeous red lipstick. Look at that whole lot. For all we know, she's wearing bikini bottoms. We don't know what is going on. in
How
her
did
head.
you know?
But we know she looked like a very hip with a gal who matched her couch to her lipstick. I mean,
Well, can I ask you this though? I mean, in the movie Clueless,
yeah.
Cher does a lot to try to get male attention by buying herself presents, by showering herself with big bouquets like the beautiful one you've got with you,
Yeah.
giant boxes of chocolate. Do you think that is like a good, successful strategy for a good grounds to build a relationship on if you're manipulating the game a bit?
You know, I'm not a big one for playing games, to be honest with you. I think it's important to put your best foot forward always. So if we're talking about having a date over Skype or FaceTime, come on, okay, put on a little lipstick, pick a nice corner of your house, present yourself the way that you want to be presented. But I don't think you should be disingenuous. And I've just never been one for how do we figure out how to make it seem that others are interested in order to, you know, send the stock rising or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting when Cher makes that choice because she actually is so genuine throughout the whole film. And even though she, at least the beginning of the film, and even though she's a negotiator and she's negotiating on her grades and this and that, I think that's genuine to her. And so I think what she, for the most part, does is actually puts her love life to the side. We don't even see her having a love interest until, I don't know, more than halfway through the movie. And because we're building the Josh thing on the side or whatever. But I think it's interesting that when she does make that choice, she's not really being genuine. And then the thing that happens with Josh is a completely genuine, natural. I mean, if we're going to just accept the dating your stepbrother's natural, then fine.
That is a kind of an odd point of the movie that it's kind of very glossed over.
The timeline's a little fuzzy on how much time they spent together as children and why he's so close with his stepfather if they were only married for 10 minutes or, you know, it's a little fuzzy at the time.
Yeah.
But we'll accept it. But I think you want to be as honest as you can be while also putting your best foot forward. I've never sent myself flowers is the short answer to your question. But on the other hand, quite a few people have sent me flowers.
Wow. Look at now. Now I'm questioning if that's
but
true.
But I do buy myself flowers.
Oh, I like that. Right. So you're not trying to fool anybody. You just actually treat yourself.
I love flowers, fresh flowers.
Let me ask you this. You know, Cher seems to be someone who is concerned about people's relationships and trying to put people together.
Yeah.
You know, you obviously give a lot of advice. Do you think that sometimes when you're so focused on everybody else, you can't really be focused on your own relationships? I mean, what's going on in your love life?
That's very interesting, Paul. I think that's actually a very astute observation. I think you can't give to everyone and to yourself in equal measure, I would say. I mean, you know, I'll tell you what, I'm a widow. Okay, people that know me well. I had a wonderful husband, Bob, Dr. Bob. We were married for many years, fabulous guy, very successful, tan all year, that sort of thing. Really a wonderful provider and a wonderful companion. Very great intellectual, great conversationalist when he felt like talking. Okay, when he wasn't sort of taking work home, let's say. At this point in my life, I really have everything that I need. And then when it comes to companionship, my rule is I really only spend time with people that can improve my life. If you think of your life as a baseline that you're sort of responsible for,
right?
The only people you really should spend time with are people that are plussing that,
Getting it
that
up.
dial. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think a mistake a lot of people make when they're young is that they think everything is sort of the messiness, and this is, look, just what we all do, but love is a little messy, and sometimes people are cruel. And I think after that happens to you once or twice, you should know there really is no rule for that there is really no room for that in any human relationships. And so
Well,
people that come into your life really should only be making things better, and you should be enjoying that quality time of that piece of the pie that you give to them. But the second that stops happening,
well, then before we let you go, because this has all been great advice, and I think it's helping a lot of people, Lucy LaPlaca wrote that her crush is constantly posting on the internet about how happy they are in their current relationship. So if you, maybe if you know, and how much they miss their significant other.
Yeah.
How do you avoid single bitterness when you're seeing people like just effusive, like I'm so excited to be here, we're making bread together, we're doing all this stuff together, or I miss my other person? How do we avoid that?
Probably the easiest thing to do is allow yourself to feel it a little bit, because it's never quite going to go away. I think we're kidding ourselves. Look, jealousy is a very destructive emotion. It's not helpful. You don't feel good. You can't do anything about it. You can't change you can't make people behave a certain way. You can't change the situation, but it's a very human emotion. So you should probably allow
Embrace it.
yourself to feel it a little bit and then say, okay, that's normal. Everybody feels a little jealous. I wish I had this. I wish I had that. And I think in this moment, though, people have to really accept many things are on hold. And that
Right.
and look, I'm not encouraging everybody to look at the incredibly depressing news every day, but I do think you have to keep abreast of what's happening, and you have to understand your place in the world.
Maybe
And
even send yourself flowers. Maybe that can make you feel better
I
in this
think
time,
that's
right?
nice. And also, you're sitting in your house all day. There's nothing to stop you from taking a fabulous selfie that somebody might comment on.
Oh, look at that little
Get
thirst
something
trap. I
else
love
going.
that.
Get a little
I
something,
love
a little
that.
a
Yeah,
thirst trap. That's
Get
hysterical.
get that going. Rana, it's been so great talking to you about love and relationships in this time where we're all nervous about it. Your podcast, Ask Rana, with Rana and Brian, every Tuesday, wherever podcasts are heard.
Wherever you get your podcasts. And on Friday, we do a Patreon extra that people can sign up for.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to be great. Thank you so much for spending some time with us
Thank you.
tonight.
And I have to tell you too, I love your show. And
Oh, thank you.
I'm a lover of movies, so I love listening to you talk about it. I mean,
Well, you are
I don't think that's
fantastic.
an easy thing to enjoy. You have to really love the people that you're spending that time with. And
Yeah, I
you
agree.
two make it a pleasure. So
Well, we're
Rana,
excited to be in
we
a
love
relationship with
you.
you.
Yes, and you've inspired me to add flowers to my grocery store order that I have coming this week. So thank you for that.
it's my absolute pleasure. And it's wonderful to see your face, Amy.
Lovely to see yours.
Enjoy
See
the
you
rest
later,
of the
Rana.
show.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That was great. That was great. To get us in the mood for this movie, which is really all about relationships. I feel like I learned a little bit there.
Me too. I feel so heartwarmed and also inspired to carry on and make my house smell a little bit better. I'm gonna cover my house in roses like that.
By the way,
But
I
yeah,
bought myself flowers. I've done it.
me too, honestly. It's one of my favorite things to do for myself. I will say one of the last things I bought at the store before I went full on ensconce is I got some eucalyptus branches. I was like, you know what? I'm getting my oat milks. I'm getting my eucalyptus branches so I can pretend I have something alive in my house at all the times.
I got aloe
But
vera plants just in case I get injured. I got to swab that all over. It's nature's medicine, ready for me.
all right, so let's get into Clueless. But as I stumbled over and mangled in our introduction, there is no Amy Heckerling film on the AFI Top 100. However, this particular AFI film, Clueless, this particular film that should be on the AFI list, maybe I believe, makes references to at least 4 films that we have covered on Unspooled. There are 4 AFI Top 100 references in Unspooled. And I'm kind of curious if people out there recognize anything. This is a pop quiz. Can anybody name any of the AFI references that are in Clueless?
I
Paul, you go.
definitely saw 2. I know for sure 2. They kind of come together, or within in the area of each other, or surrounding Cher's new kind of obsession, that young man that comes into the picture there. But I'm curious to see what the other ones were. Let's see. What are people saying? Are we getting any answers on here so far?
Yeah, let's
All
see.
right.
Well, I'll give people a hint. Let's start with one of the very first ones, which I think you are referring to. It is a little bit of an homage to one of the films I adore very much, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun. And Kate Littleton actually got this reference because of the podcast. Amy Heckerling shoots Cher's phone as though it is the amazing obelisk monolith. I always forget whether it's an obelisk or a monolith. I get them confused all the time.
Monolith.
Monolith?
It's a monolith.
Oh yeah,
At least that's
obelisks
how I
are
understand it.
pointy. I remember trying to memorize that. Or they're four-sided, something like that.
I don't know
Okay.
how that would come up in a conversation, so I don't think your lack of memorization is bad on this one.
Oh, one of the first fights my boyfriend and I ever had on a road trip was the difference between an obelisk and a monolith. You know, we don't
boy.
want to go there. Leslie Tackett, she identifies rebel without a cause James Dean, and I wonder if she's talking about the absolute aesthetic of Christian, who is Cher's crush, who is very much a retro kind of dude. In fact, one of the things that Christian says he loves is he in particular loves two films that are on the AFI list. They both star Tony Curtis. One of them is Some Like It Hot, and the other one is a movie that he makes Cher watch, which is Spartacus. We see a clip of that right here. Dun, dun, dun.
And he's in love with Tony Curtis in this movie, or at least he seems to be in lust with him when watching him on the screen.
He is. There's another really quick little one where Cher makes fun of Josh by saying that he reminds her of a character who is in one of the AFI films that I think you agree we should kick off the list.
Yes.
You remember when this happens?
I
Right
do.
here. She says that Josh looks like Forrest Gump, and he gets so embarrassed that he takes off his hat.
By the way, this idea of this movie being 25 years old, it feels like the fact that this movie is older than Forrest Gump, or Forrest Gump is older than this movie, kind of blew my mind.
I know, right? I mean, yeah. Forrest Gump must have just come out the year before when they started to make fun of it. So I like that it's already considered embarrassing. You know, we try to be like, oh no, it took years for it to win a bunch of Oscars and us regret that choice. And let me ask you this question, Paul. This is for you. Did you feel like you saw a little bit of All About Eve in this film with the dynamic between Cher and Ty?
Ooh, I really like that. You know, I've thought so much about this movie as like an adaptation of Emma that I didn't even think about All About Eve. But yeah, she created, you know, the only difference is that Ty doesn't take Cher down. Like Ty gets popular, but has no ill will towards Cher. But I definitely see that idea that, you know, she made her over too well.
Very much, very much. I mean, I think there's so much in this movie that is just timeless in terms of the dynamics it tells between humans and the stories that it tells. That, like, I love that it recalls back to so many gigantic classic films, but I wanted to jump back even further. And as we get into Clueless, I want to talk a little bit about Jane Austen herself and why Emma is such a revolutionary book. And I did a podcast on kind of a different angle of this a month ago, on Jane Austen as like a political figure who used the novel to really insert a lot of ideas in her novel about slavery, about the class structure. And I'm actually not even going to talk about any of that today. If you're curious about that, that is all out there. But one other thing that makes Emma such a revolutionary book is that Jane Austen actually used this book to invent a new experimental style of fiction that doesn't seem so new today because we're used to it. But she was the first novelist to do this. And so what Emma did, by the way, just as like a quick backup, Emma is the fourth book that Jane Austen publishes while she's alive. And it's actually the last book she publishes while she was alive. The next two that come out afterwards are drafts that she'd been working on that her family published after her death when she died.
Oh,
She
wow.
died in her early 40s. So it was the last one that came out that she got to really appreciate. And in this book, it's one of my favorites because you see that she's working on trying to stretch the definition of what a novel can be. And so before Emma, all novels tend to be written in one of either two ways. They were first person, you know, and of course, first person is when you see like this narrow view of what's happening in the story only through the eyes of the main character. Or novels are told a lot in third person, you know, where the writer just lets us see everything really impersonally. But what Emma does here, what Jane Austen does with Emma, is something really totally new. It's a book that is written in the third person. It's all about Emma did this, Emma said this. It's never about I, but it's about a character whose personality is so strong and so charming and so deluded and so bullying that the character of Emma kind of peer pressures the narrator into seeing the world how Emma does, which is something that had never happened. Like, this is a book with an unreliable narrator, but it's an unreliable, omniscient narrator. And it makes the whole book kind of a trick. You know, it takes reading Emma a few times to start to see all of these things that the narrator pressures you to kind of miss because Emma is
Right.
so self-centered in how she sees the world. On the first reading, you don't really catch that like Elton has a crush on her or that Jane and Frank Churchill are having this secret affair. You don't catch that like a lot of people in town don't think Emma's that nice of a person. And so this is all a brand new revolutionary style of writing that people started to adapt after Emma. And I love talking about it because I think there's a little bit of that spirit in the movie Clueless too. And I pulled the intro of the film just to kind of start to talk about this, about like how Emma and then Clueless became to me pretty revolutionary in how we tell stories.
I can feel the heat, but it's soothing heading down. I swim for the beating is down the aisle without going, down the aisle without going. We're the kids in America. We're the kids in America. Everybody.
Okay, you're probably going, is this like an Oxyma commercial or what? But seriously, I actually have a way normal life for a teenage girl. I mean, I get up, I brush my teeth, and I pick out my school clothes.
Okay, so as you can hear there, like this is very much a first person story. But what makes Clueless different from other teen girl movies? I kind of want to go back and talk about it using Molly Ringwald as an example. So I pulled up a couple stills because before Clueless, we had a couple different types of teen girl protagonists in movies. You had lovable poor girls like Molly Ringwald here. You had lovable middle class girls like Molly Ringwald here. And you also had Molly Ringwald playing like snobby rich girls who need to grow up. Characters that
She
you
is a
didn't
versatile
really like.
actress, Amy. What's your problem with Molly? She can do it all. She can play every type of woman.
It's not. It's just to help highlight what's new about Cher, because Cher takes that vision of an unreliable protagonist who we're not supposed to really love and kicks it up. Cher's really, really unique. Here's a picture of Cher because she is a lovable rich girl who also still needs to grow up. We didn't have a lot of lovable rich girls in films before this. Films that kind of sucker you into loving this protagonist who maybe you shouldn't love so much. The way that the novel itself kind of was like, oh, Emma's great, Emma's charming, everybody adores Emma. And after Clueless comes out, this kind of protagonist, like a rich girl who's just so great and delightful, it becomes a movie trend. It kind of kickstarts the movie trend just the way that Jane Austen did with novels. You have movies like this. You have movies like Bring It On with like a lovable rich girl who needs to grow up. You have movies like this guy, Legally Blonde, a lovable rich girl that needs to grow up. And the culture starts to really worship rich girls at this point. I think Clueless starts this trend that becomes a super trend that becomes a kind of a trend that I think goes really awry.
Whoa, hold on. Can we talk about this shirt? Stop being poor. Stop being poor. This is crazy.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of crazy Paris Hilton things. This might take the cake. Holy shit.
Yeah, I think that there is kind of a loose connected dots in us spending the early 2000s convinced that rich people and billionaires were the coolest people on earth. That kind of connects Cher to our kill all billionaires movement. It launched the Paris Hiltons, it launched the Kardashians, and now we're like, wait, hold on, we hate billionaires. But I think Cher made us start to love rich people, and it's all in this idea of that goes back to like Jane Austen convincing us to love protagonists who are maybe not the best people and kind of suckering us into a mindset.
Well, Leslie Tackett in the group chat down there says, Cher's an airhead, but she's also smart, which is something that you never really saw before. And I think that that's actually a really astute point. Like she is trying to do good, but she has a warped way of doing it. I think Legally Blonde follows that same kind of trajectory. It's like she may not be smart to go to Harvard or when she goes, it's like, but she's not just an airhead. And I think that that's actually a really unique distinction there too.
I think that is really true, although there is an airhead moment that I want to pull up in a second. But I appreciate Rob Tucker giving a shout out to that clip, which I kind of wanted to call it to say it myself, and I'm glad that he did, that Clueless opens. The very first voice you hear in Clueless is the voice of Muffs singer Kim Shattuck doing the Muffs version of Kids in America. And Kim passed away this year, and she's actually the very first weekend of quarantine, I was supposed to go to a fundraiser for ALS, which was what she had. And she was awesome. And I'm glad to know that Rob Tucker is out there appreciating Kim Shattuck. But back to Clueless for a little bit. What I want to say that's like kind of interesting about it is, I think a lot of people, myself included, Clueless might have been our first introduction to Emma if you hadn't read the book. and
Right.
that this whole idea was new at the time of Clueless, because to be completely honest, Clueless was the first time American audiences ever saw the story of Emma told in any sort of fashion on film. It's kind of hard to remember because starting in the 90s, there was this huge trend of making Jane Austen movies, and now we have all sorts of crazy things like Pride and Prejudice versus zombies. But before Clueless, there actually were not major mainstream Hollywood releases of Jane Austen movies. You had to go all the way back to 1940 to this movie version of Pride and Prejudice with Greer Garson and Laurence Olivier. There was this idea in Hollywood that you didn't want to make movies about Jane Austen novels because she was too wordy, because her books were too interior, they were too much in their characters' mindsets, they didn't make good stuff, they didn't make good productions. And it was after Clueless came out the next year that then you got Emma, the one right here with Gwyneth Paltrow, and you started this huge trend. And actually, Gwyneth Paltrow said she was kind of sad about this. She gave this quote, I think it was in New York Magazine in 1996, right when her movie came out, that I think it's sad that America's first cultural reference to this movie will be Clueless. I mean, honestly. To which I want to call the tiniest bit of bullshit. And first, I will start by showing Emma's poster. So Emma's poster is the shot, Emma with a bow and arrow.
Yes.
And if Gwyneth
Very much
Paltrow,
like a Cupid.
yeah, totally. Very Cupid recollecting. Can I even say that?
Yeah,
But
I feel like that works.
yeah. However, here's the thing. If Gwyneth Paltrow wants to get all on Clueless's jock for like not being authentically Jane Austen or whatever, in the Emma book, she never ever shoots a bow and arrow. Like Emma steals a scene that's actually from the 1940 Pride and Prejudice. Is in the 1940 Pride and Prejudice that there's this big whole like bow and arrow scene that became kind of iconically Jane Austen. Does not happen in Emma. So you could kind of argue that the Gwyneth Paltrow version of Emma is more questionable. I'm just going to give a point to Clueless on the authenticity.
But I don't think it's a bad thing when you adapt something and make it a totally unique version of what it's based on. Like, we talk about adaptations all the time, and the idea that like when it's such a direct adaptation, sometimes it falls flat. And to see this movie kind of satirize culture, and I think this movie exists now that you can watch it in 2020, and it feels just as alive as it was in 1995. That's showing that it has like this timeless nature to it. It's a really smart adaptation. It's not just like this older version, where I kind of applaud it for doing something different.
I mean, I agree with you for sure on Clueless. And I don't hate the original Emma. I just want to throw a little shade at that Emma for throwing a little shade at Clueless. Can I throw some shade in its direction?
Yeah, please. I think we should. But I think it's like, but I don't think if Clueless was a terrible movie, then yes, say that, oh, America's first, experience with this would be that movie. But it's a great movie. Embrace it and be like, and now we're going to go back and kind of do a more, straightforward adaptation.
I agree. But I do think that Alicia Silverstone just makes perfect casting for this role of Emma, as a character who's lovely and charming and wins you over, even though she's kind of existing in her alternate planet. And I want to play this one scene from where you see Alicia try to win over her entire classroom with one of her debates that get her like a C until she's upgraded. There's a cute little thing in this that actually was revealed when they started to do cast and crew interviews about the movie after the fact.
Should all oppressed people be allowed refuge in America? Amber will take the con position. Cher will be pro. Cher, 2 minutes.
So, okay, like right now, for example, the Haitians need to come to America. But some people are all, what about the strain on our resources? But it's like when I had this garden party for my father's birthday, right? I said RSVP because it was a sit-down dinner. But people came that did not RSVP. So I was totally bugging. I had to haul ass to the kitchen, redistribute the food, squish in extra place settings. But by the end of the day, it was the more the merrier. And so if the government could just get to the kitchen, rearrange some things, we could certainly party with the Haitians. And in conclusion, may I please remind you that it does not say RSVP on the Statue of Liberty. Thank you very much.
Amber, reply?
Mr. Hall, how can I answer that? The topic is Haiti, and she's talking about some little party.
Hello, it was his 50th birthday.
Whatever.
It's such a great scene, but it shows that kind of what we're talking about, that Legally Blonde, like that her own way of interpreting something. It's not just dumb. It's not just stoner. It's something that is different, you know, or airhead, I should say.
Well, yeah, except it wasn't entirely acting. And this is why I wanted to say Elisa Donovan, who plays Amber, the girl who's like, whatever in
Yeah.
that scene, she said that on the day they filmed that scene, Alicia Silverstone just didn't know how to pronounce Haitians. She just said Haitians. And Elisa kind of panicked and she was like, oh, and she's about to interrupt the scene. And when she glanced over Amy Heckerling was like, no, just let her screw that up. It is so perfect for that character.
That's great. I didn't even realize that, because that scene seems to me like such an audition scene. Like when Alicia Silverstone got this movie, I feel like she did that scene for all the producers and everything, because it almost seems more heightened than the actual movie. Like she's a little bit more grounded than even that persona in the movie, and it's a pretty heightened performance anyway.
It is. But I want to actually take a second and talk about Amber for a minute, because we are about to have our beautiful, beautiful, charming, and lovely hair genius come on, and I want to have her talk about hair in this movie, especially Amber's hair, because Amber has some of the best hairdos in the entire film. Let's look at a couple of them. They are a little bit further down on our slideshow.
I mean, the hair and the fashion in this movie are really unbelievable. I like in watching it, I feel like what they do also is, by satirizing characters and making these big, bold choices, nothing feels out of fashion, oddly. There are things that definitely hit in the 90s way, but it's so kind of, it never was almost. They made their own fashion choices, it seems like.
Yeah, very much. And I want to do kind of a further thing on the fashion stuff that we just saw really briefly of, but here is one of Amber's beautiful hairstyles. I love this one with all of the insane, crazy curls. Okay, let's look at another one. Ah, Amber, her clothes at the dancing with Elton, just taking the sloppy seconds.
Yeah.
And then here, this is a trim Amber. This is the kind of haircut I've always wanted, like a real smooth little Faye Dunaway kind of bob. And then this one is probably my favorite Amber hairstyle in the entire film, the Pippi Longstocking braids. They are phenomenal,
Oh
1,000% amazing. So
Amazing.
with that sort of a buildup of the amazing hairstyles in this movie, let's bring on Becca. Hello, Becca.
Hi guys, here we go. All right, can you see me?
Yes.
Hi, guys.
Hello, lovely. How
Great.
are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. Clueless is one of my favorite movies of all time. I've watched it like twice in the last 2 weeks. First time I was starting the Paul Rudd movie marathon chronologically. So
Oh, wow.
when you asked me to do this, I was like, oh, perfect. I just saw that. But I had to watch it again because Amber truly has so many hairstyles. She has like 13. That's really rare. Like,
yeah, for a supporting character in a giant ensemble film.
Exactly. Like the time and care that the hairstylist like took just to round out her character, it made me think so much about her. Like, is Amber getting up at like 5 a.m. to get her hair ready for school for these fabulous styles? Is she sketching them during class? Like, what is she doing? She just head to toe, like Cher really gave her a lot of shit for not, being her own person and thieving from her laundry basket. But man, Amber had it. She had it on lock. Although she did
By
grow
the way,
up in
she's
Beverly
probably
Hills.
just tired. I mean, like you said, she's probably just exhausted from
Right.
getting up every morning. Come on.
Totally. I did think that it's possible she might have like an in-house hairstylist. Like she probably has a maid who might, that's possible too. But she's still to be up. You gotta have your head up. I don't know many actors that sleep while their hair is being done in the chair.
Yeah.
So today I'm gonna do Amy's favorite hairstyle.
What? You have a wig head? Oh my gosh. I should say, by the way,
Yeah.
that Becca is the hair department head of Comedy Central's corporate. So she is a hair genius in her own right. Oh my gosh.
Thanks.
Tell us
Corporate
what's
is
going
such a great
on
show if
over
you've not
here.
watched it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, corporate guys, please watch it. I mean, we did our last season, so you won't get any more. But it's very
But
fun.
it's all free on the app right now. The app is streaming all
Yes.
the shows right now. Yes.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for the tip there.
I'll
All right,
have to be
guys.
up to
So
date.
here's what's up. We figured that this hairstyle was probably accomplished using something like a pipe cleaner. However, because all the stores are closed, I'm making do with what I had in my kitchen, which are these. They are little
Little twisty ties?
twist ties. Yeah. So you probably have some at home. Like everyone probably has like, I don't know, a stash. I keep mine in a little thing right here.
Perfect.
And, you know, uh, for electronical things, but we're gonna do electronical things. Guys, Clueless, like I said, it's my favorite movie. We're gonna use these in a braid. We're gonna,
Okay.
okay. So what I've already done, I've taken 4 of these. I've twisted 2 together up here, 2 together down here, and then twisted them together in the middle. Cool. All right. So I did a few different variations of this, and I found that this one worked the best. So you're going to take the end here. I've made 2 ponytails with a medium-sized hair elastic. Can you see that?
I
Yeah.
can.
I've always wanted to say that on a live stream. Can you see that? This is my first online tutorial as well, so bear with
I
me.
love this.
Welcome. You should know that
Yeah.
your hair is also a hit. People think you have the most beautiful red hair on the planet, and I
Oh,
agree.
that's so sweet. Oh, thank you so much.
I really hope that this inspires people tonight to do this. And if you do this,
Oh,
please send us
please.
pictures
Oh my
of
God,
the
yes.
before, after, and in the middle, honestly. I want to see this all go down.
I mean, this is a great thing. Like I do this while I watch TV. I braid my hair, which is why I thought this would be an excellent quarantine activity. You can find craft items around your house and just go for it. And really, the stranger, the better, because who's really seeing you right now? You're gonna
Exactly.
cheer people up that you're quarantining with. They'll get a good laugh at you.
I can amuse my cat, make him
You
like me again,
Oh my
give him something
gosh.
to play with.
Boy, oh boy, I'm a little worried right now that I'm gonna have somebody yowling at my door. She has taken to thinking that the computer screen is birds, and she just wants to attack it all the time. And yeah, it's a little stressful. She's already knocked the laptop off the desk once, so.
Well, maybe she sees Amy's animal print. She might be intimidated. She might be scared.
I know.
Back
Oh my
off.
gosh. Okay, so I've just finished this first braid here. And there we go. You get that nice little crimp. I'm gonna finish it off with a tiny little elastic. You want to use something a little bit lighter than your standard elastic,
Right.
like the thick one I used up top. That's gonna give you more structure at the top, but you want something light enough that it's not gonna weigh the whole braid down. Right, one done.
Whoa, I love
Becca.
that.
I mean,
Whoa, that's
yeah.
amazing. And it really stays in that position. Like you can really get it to be malleable. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Wow.
can. So if you have these things at home, you can accomplish this pretty easily. Ideally, I would be using pipe cleaners, and I would say try and
You
go
know,
for
we
your
do
hair
have
color.
a large part of our audience are pipe smokers. They, we talk a lot about
Excellent.
tobacco, the best kind of pipes, and people will just be cleaning out their pipes. So you might be surprised. We have the largest, I think, female pipe smoking audience, and I don't mean that in a metaphoric sense. I'm just saying that literally they smoke pipes.
Wow.
Oh,
Really
people,
impressed.
Becca, we have 2 comments for you. One, people want to say that is the perfect penny hair, the penny hair for hairspray, which is one of my
Yes.
favorite movies.
Yes, it is
And
so penny.
it is so petty. And 2, people want to know the name of your cat.
My cat, she is named Sophie Lucy.
Oh, nice.
She is so
Yeah.
beautiful. Now,
She's great.
can I ask you a question as you're doing the braiding? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it has been my dream my entire life to figure out how to have Cher Horowitz hair that just like
Oh.
sleek, kind of fluffy, not too, just perfect. Is that just all blow drying?
It is. You could do a few hot rollers. Like I really love the different scenes where we see Cher actually getting ready, because they're setting them up exactly the way they would.
Okay.
I think she has cans in her hair at one point, or maybe Ty does, but that's a great way to get a lot of volume. So a good way to do that would be to invest in like a 2-inch or an 1.5-inch Velcro roller. And you just want to do that at like your crown back here, and then 2 on the sides. Like
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, and that'll give you that lift and that volume. You know,
I'm gonna
heaven
try that
forbid.
tonight.
Oh, you should, Paul. Yeah.
Get up there.
Paul, do you mind if I
Yeah.
ask you, have you ever shaved your head and said, "Cause I'm keeping it real, cause I'm keeping it real"?
By the way, I was trying to figure out, I feel like there might have been reshoots on the movie at one point, because after he shaved his head, he is wearing a hat in the next scene, and I was wondering like how much they committed to that, because he is bald in some scenes and then it looks like he has hair going on in other scenes. Right,
Well,
look at this.
somebody mentioned earlier in the chat, I saw that I guess producers didn't like the fact that Donald Faison was balding so young. His hair was receding. And so they made the decision to have him shaving it in the scene, and then hats for, you know, regrowth, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm sure you're
That's-
familiar with it, Paul. Continuity
I
is
am familiar. I'm
important.
familiar. I did a show on MTV as a balding man, and I wore hats all the time,
Yeah.
just to trick you, keep you out of
Yep.
the loop.
For sure.
This is
Here she
amazing. I
is.
love this. It doesn't seem
Guys.
as hard as I thought it would be. I mean, or you just make it look effortless.
Oh,
that
I
is-
did do a little prep. There she
I
is.
love it.
And
That is
the
great,
thing-
and it's so good. This is awesome. I want people to do this at home. I want to send this challenge out.
Yeah. You can do like accessories too in the front, you know, something silly if you want. I'm sure you have everyone has something at home. I don't know.
I
It seems
love
very
this.
extra and Amber. Well, thanks guys.
Well, Becca,
is
you
so
have
great. Thank you
inspired
so
me.
much.
Becca, where can people find you?
You can find me on the Instagram. I'm usually on there about 8 hours a day. I've got an account. It's Becca Weber HMU. So if you want to check out me, never posting, but sometimes in the live stories, or you can check out my my potato chip blog with my friend Marnie.
Wait, hold on. You have a potato chip blog?
Yeah, a friend of mine, Marnie, and I, we review regional potato chips, and
Man.
our Instagram is regional chips. If you have any interest in that.
I'm very excited about that. That's amazing. So,
Yeah.
all right, so what's that website again? What is that website for the regional chips?
It's regional chips is just Instagram at regional chips, and
Okay.
yeah, follow our
You gotta
selfie
follow. You
adventures.
gotta follow from me. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. It was so great to talk to you.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Amy.
Becca,
Bye-bye.
I adore you, and I'm going to be trying to get on the phone with you because I need to trim my bangs soon. I'm about to not
You
be able
got
to
it, girl.
see.
Absolutely.
Bye. Bye. Love
Bye.
you. Talk to you later.
Bye.
So, Amy, that was awesome. I'm very excited to follow Regional Chips. So let's get into Clueless. Let's deep dive a little bit more into this movie and set the tone of where we are. I know we talked a little bit about this film being 25 years old, but I'll give you a little bit more information. So it's like totally 1995. People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive is Brad Pitt. Time Magazine's Person of the Year is Newt Gingrich. Bites Magazine Best Thing Online is Home Pages. For the first time, Americans are shopping online at Amazon and eBay and getting FDA-approved chickenpox vaccines using Microsoft Windows 95 and slurping down Frappuccinos. There were Starbucks in this film. Timothy McVeigh launches a terrorist bombing of a federal building in Oklahoma City, killing 168 people and injuring 680 others. Kind of yin and yang to the Frappuccino fact. The first successful animal clone is created by the mammary cell of a sheep. The clone was named Dolly after a famous country singer known for her impressive mammary cells. That's weirdly sexist and
Wow.
misogynistic. Michael Jordan returns to the NBA, and O.J. Simpson is found not guilty, which, by the way, is not the same thing as innocent. The top movies are Apollo 13, Babe, Jumanji, Braveheart, and Toy Story. So these are, this is a big year. This is a good big year for movies. And let's take a little look at Clueless. I know we've talked about it a little bit, but just take a little watch here.
You know what? I think I squandered the clip that we were going to show by already
Oh, wait.
showing it. Oh, no.
Don't worry about it. Well, then, Amy, tell us who's in it and what's it about.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. I should have done this way earlier. Clueless. It is directed by Amy Heckerling. It stars Alicia Silverstone, really kind of bursting out in like big star role after being the Aerosmith girl in so many music videos. She plays Cher Horowitz. You have you have so many wonderful people in here. You have like Brittany Murphy playing Ty, the girl that they give a makeover to. You have Donald Faison, of course, playing oh gosh, I didn't write the cast down. Oh no, and I have such a
Don't
bad
worry about it. We just
memory.
know it's Donald Faison. Yeah, we got Stacey
Donald
Dash in
Faison, you
there.
got your Paul Rudd in here. A breakout, the very first film performance of Paul Rudd, which I want to talk about a little bit later. When I have my own time quiz for you, Paul.
Ooh,
Dun,
I'm very
dun,
excited
dun.
about that. Well, no, this movie, you know what struck out to me in this viewing of the film is, and I don't think I ever really put it together, but it really is more satirical than I think I ever thought of it. I mean, these characters are these big, bold personas. It reminds me in a way a little bit of South Park. It's lampooning so much and kind of taking itself out of 1995 while also embracing everything about 95.
Yeah, even in that little clip that we saw earlier, you get a sense of how Amy Heckerling has just filled the entire backdrop of this film with tiny little in jokes. You know, half the kids in the school have little patches on their noses, little patches on their chins. All these Beverly Hills kids are in the middle of getting plastic surgery. You have clothes that are so of the moment trendy that they are designed to exist only in this moment, which I love because I feel like a lot of the times you go and see movies where they're trying to kind of play it a little bit safe. Everyone's in fine jeans, fine t-shirts. This knows it's going to look 1995 forever, but it shows us a moment where in 1995, fashion is all over the place. You know, what I enjoy about Clueless is you get a sense of that pivot moment that we're about to have happen in the 90s, where grunge is fighting for dominance with the people who are about to rise up and become the Britney Spearses. You know, we're about to have that new teen dream sensation start over. And so you see in characters like Travis Birkenstock, Paul Rudd's character who's only listening to like Radiohead, this sense of the culture clash that thought they were defining the 90s about to be taken over by these younger, cheerful, blonde teen bop generations that were about to start, you know, the TRL craze.
Yeah, I think at the first time I had heard Radiohead was in this movie on this amazing soundtrack. You have we talked about the Muffs opening up the film. You have the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones as just a band. They never called them the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones in the film. In that warehouse party. This movie is so beautifully shot. That warehouse party seemed like they ran out of money. They just kind of put a like a construction mover in the back. It was a very weirdly empty. Like they were like, it's a warehouse party in an actual like working warehouse. Like did someone just like let you go to like the Amazon facility? Like it's much more believable like in Brooklyn where it was like more of these abandoned warehouses, not like just a literal functioning warehouse. It's like the warehouse from Beverly Hills Cop, you know, just it's like, oh yeah, we got the night manager, let us set the stage with a full band.
I mean, I have a question. Do you think were the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones already double mighty, or were they just one mighty? Were they just the Mighty Boss Tones? Like, were they getting mightier?
Oh, I thought they were the Mighty Mighty. Well, maybe, who knows? I mean,
I just didn't know if their powers were growing.
I mean, I think they have. I mean, you know, look, they still are kicking. I mean, 25 years later, they're still doing it. I wanted to talk to you about, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this movie in contrast to Fast Times, which is another Amy Heckerling movie. Because there are certain stereotypes that she's playing with in both. And the one that I was looking at the most is the character of Travis Birkenstock and Sean Penn's character from Fast Times. Like they're two stoners and they're very different. And I thought that was actually a really clever way. You know, she's basically creating two archetypes of the same thing, but in totally unique ways.
You're right. He's like a nouveau Spicoli. Yeah. And that he actually does what Spicoli doesn't do, which is he goes to rehab and he starts to straighten out a little bit. It's like a more optimistic Spicoli. It's a Spicoli whose parents are maybe paying a little bit more attention to him.
Yeah, and I think to me, he feels sweeter. I think Fast Times, obviously, based on this Cameron Crowe article about, you know, teenagers in high school. So there's much more of a real world there. Here, I kind of thought it was oddly punitive to make him go to rehab for smoking weed. Like he didn't seem like that much of a stoner. He just seemed like a little bit of a stoner. And they really made him have to clean up to get the girl. And meanwhile, Brittany Murphy's character, who I think Brittany is fantastic in this movie. I have a whole new appreciation for her in this film. She is like alludes to doing coke. She's slept around. She's done all this stuff. And she doesn't seem to make any amends. Like she's like, I'm not doing that anymore. She just is just going. And I thought that was an interesting, at least a role reversal, kind of a cool role reversal, that the guy had to clean up to get the girl, but the girl didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. And I have to say, watching this movie again, I fell back in love with Brittany Murphy. You know, that character, every time she shows up on screen, she just boom, she just lights up. I mean, she reminds me, you know, Mia Goth plays that version of that character in the new Emma, and Mia Goth has that same just kind of radiance. But there's something special about Brittany Murphy when she breaks down in tears singing Rolling with My Homies and just can't control herself and starts to sob. There's something about her eyes and her smile that just feel completely just present, you know?
It's an oddly overshadowed performance because I think Alicia Silverstone is so, you can't take your eyes off of her. I mean, I watched this movie at a perfect time to be absolutely like in love with Alicia Silverstone. It was sort of like, oh my God, like she's the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life. You know, I was right in that sweet spot for Aerosmith videos. And it's sort of that interesting moment where now when you have some distance, you can kind of see how everyone's doing an amazing job. Everyone's popping. She just was magnetic. I mean, you know, she is the centerpiece in a world with so many great character actors. I mean, also Wallace Shawn's in this movie, who's amazing. Dan Hedaya, who I love, Julie Brown. So many great performances, but she really unintentionally kind of hogs the spotlight. I think she just, the way she's dressed, the way she acts, she just nails it.
It's fair, but I want to say, you know, in rewatching this, even though you can't take your eyes off her, it was only in this watch that I noticed something special about Cher's costumes as compared to everybody else. And I want to talk about it for a second. Because, you know, the Cher outfit that's most famous is, of course, the yellow plaid one. But when I was really watching what she was wearing, I noticed that the costumer, Mona May, takes pains to always dress Cher a little bit different from everybody else. It's not just that she's trendy, like everyone is trendy. She's trendy in a way that really subtly recalls Emma, the Regency style of fashion, by wearing clothes that highlight this vague idea of a silhouette of the empire waist. And I pulled this one out, this first clip as an example, because you see like ties in bright neon in a midriff. She's also making, she's putting tie in a midriff. Diana's already in a midriff, but she's wearing this empire waist dress with a little bit of a ribbon. It's this kind of tiny subliminal Emma style. And you watch her like wear these empire waist dresses in all of the film. I got a couple more of them. She wears an empire waist dress to the mall. She wears an empire waist dress when she starts gathering food right here for the food bank and Travis Bickle gives up his bong. And when she's not wearing empire waist dresses, she's actually layering her.
Did you just say Travis Bickle?
Oh, I did.
And by the way, that is what I want to see. I want to see Travis Bickle in here. By the way, she's a great Sybil Shepherd. Let's remake that movie. Let's just take them right now.
There was actually a movie review that compares Alicia Silverstone to Sybil Shepherd. It said she's a Sybil Shepherd who can act, which I found offensive, and I didn't pull that one because she can act.
Yeah, all right.
But I want to show you this. Even when she's not wearing literal empire waist dresses, she's layering her clothes in a way that are a subtle empire waist, which I love that. Here she is in the gym outfit, wearing kind of a tiny tank top over it. She wears her vest over her shirt, like to create another empire waist silhouette. And then in her big emo scene, she's also doing another empire waist outfit with her tiny little sparkly vest over this long white shirt. And so I was just knocked out by Mona May's costumes, because she's not just creating an iconic style. She's creating something with a lot of intelligent design behind it. And I just worship that about it. And I had to give Mona a special salute.
There's actually a great special feature on the DVD or the streaming, whatever you get it from iTunes, just about Mona May. I was watching it, and there was one thing that jumped out at me. There's 53 different kinds of tartan plaid used in this movie, 7 which were worn by Cher and 12 by other major characters. I mean, she also really doubled down on that plaid, and I think that is an interesting, it's an interesting look that you don't often see out there, or at least I don't. I mean, I'm not a fashionista. I don't know.
Well, I have to say, I spent the 90s going to a Catholic school, and all we had to wear was plaid and knee socks, and so Clueless was 1,000% the most iconic look I could have ever done. That movie could not have come out at a better time. That movie and The Craft, terrific time to be a Catholic schoolgirl.
I am a Catholic school boy, and that was, I mean, my image of all women are essentially in that thing, because it's like everybody that I had a crush on was in a Catholic schoolgirl dress.
It's true. But, you know, before we move on from Clueless, though, I want to talk about Paul Rudd just for a little bit and play my evil guessing game on you. Are you ready?
Okay, yes, but before we even talk about Paul Rudd, I want to say, obviously he's in this movie, but, you know, he wasn't the first choice. there's a few different choices in here, and I thought that was really interesting. Or I shouldn't say he wasn't the first choice. He was one of many people considered, and I thought these would be interesting. Okay, so here we go. This is really interesting. This is for, oh, sorry. Sorry, what is his name in the movie again? I've just blanked on it.
Josh.
Josh. Okay. Jeremy Renner, Ben Affleck, and Zach Braff.
Wow.
So Zach Braff, you could have a mini Scrubs there. But Ben Affleck and Jeremy Renner, really interesting. A young Jeremy Renner in this role. They all kind of share something very similar. Renner and Ben Affleck, and of course, Zach Braff is a little bit different. I think that Paul Rudd is kind of the perfect choice because he's got everything you kind of want. He's sweet. He's actually funny, and you feel like he, you know, and he's attractive. I think he's got like every element of it, and I feel like those other characters are good, but he's the most realized. I feel like when you're watching this movie, you're seeing the Paul Rudd that we know now, not like the Paul Rudd. I mean, it's there, all those little things and asides. You feel him improvising and having fun in this movie.
I mean, I have to be honest, I didn't know there was such a thing as a young Jeremy Renner. I just thought he showed up in the Hurt Locker and that was it. I thought he was born from his mother's womb, a mature, battle-scarred
He would have been
Afghan
way
veteran.
too brooding for this movie. Just like, I couldn't have bought a brooding. It would have been too brooding for me. All right, so play your Paul Rudd game to me.
All right, I'm gonna play my Paul Rudd game. But first, I will say it is no surprise that Paul Rudd was not the first choice for this because he was not a movie actor at the time. He had not been in any movies. Clueless was his very first movie. It was his movie debut. But if his timing had just been a little bit off, he would not have had this amazing of a movie debut. He would have had a much more embarrassing movie debut because the movie that came out a few months later was this, Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, Paul Rudd's second movie. And if you're wondering what Paul Rudd is doing in a Michael Myers movie, he was playing Tommy. And who is Tommy? If you remember the very first Halloween,
Yes.
Tommy is the little kid that Jamie Lee Curtis is babysitting the night that Michael Myers comes to visit. So in Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, which is possibly the worst of all the Halloween sequels, I might even just say definitively it is the worst of all the Halloween sequels, he plays a grown-up Tommy, traumatized by these events. And I just had to play the acting of Paul Rudd in this clip when he's in a hospital trying to break a girl out or blah, 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 blah. And he finally sees Michael for the first time since he was a boy.
Tommy?
Oh my gosh, that was better than I could have possibly ever imagined. Oh man, that is so funny. It's almost like he's doing a parody. I don't know if it's because I love Paul Rudd so much, but it's wow, that is amazing. I mean, we all got to make it. Look, somebody posted yesterday on Instagram a version of me being attacked by piranha that were not in the actual finished movie. It just was like me fighting off where the CGI was going to go in. And I can laugh at that because I also feel like I did that. So there it is. But people are saying on the chat, he's so cute. People just love that he's cute. People in the chat don't care. He's cute.
He has some amazing scenes. There's some scenes where he runs around a hospital holding a baby screaming and being a crazy person. I mean, it's the only good reason to watch Halloween 6, which otherwise is a nightmare.
Right.
But so here's the game that I want to play on you, Paul. I want you to give the answers, but people in our chat room can also type out their answer. It's a pretty easy guessing game. You have one of two options. It's 3 rounds. It's the Paul Rudd age guessing game because as he is an ageless person, I thought this would become very hard. So the game is simply who is older, Paul Rudd or X. Are you ready?
Okay, got it.
All right, I'm going to show some pictures to help it out. Round 1. Who is older, Paul Rudd today or Wallace Shawn at the time he made Clueless?
I'm going to say Wallace Shawn at the time he made Clueless.
All right, I'm going to give people another second to place their bet or just yell it out loud if they want. And yes, the answer is Wallace Shawn at the time of Clueless, but only by 1 year. In this picture, Wallace Shawn is 1 year. Wallace Shawn is 1 year older than Paul Rudd is today.
All right.
Okay, question 2. Who is older here? Paul Rudd at the premiere of This Is 40, or JFK the day that he was inaugurated?
Well, because I think you have to be 40 years old at least to be the president, I'm going to say JFK is older.
You are incorrect. Paul Rudd is older by 1 month at the premiere of This Is 40.
Wow, you're really getting me on these months. Okay, great. What do we got
Okay,
next?
twin. Okay, twinzo. Okay, and the last question, round 3. Who is older? Paul Rudd when he made his very first ever screen debut in the NBC sitcom Sisters with Susie Quartz, or the current record holder for the world's oldest hamburger?
Wait. The oldest hamburger versus Paul Rudd?
Yeah, versus Paul Rudd when he made his
Paul Rudd's definitely older
TV
than
debut.
the world's oldest hamburger. Paul Rudd's got to be older than the hamburger at this point.
Okay, Paul Rudd is older than the hamburger, but just
Thank God.
But only by 2 years. This summer, the world's oldest hamburger is going to turn 21 years old. That man in the picture, David Whipple, he bought the burger, put it in his pocket, and forgot about it. Found it a little bit over a decade later. Was like, oh my goodness, it must be the world's oldest hamburger, and has such preserved it in its state. He does have the receipt as proof of the hamburger's age. As you can see, the hamburger is July 1999.
He put it in it. Who puts the hamburger? What animal puts the hamburger in your pocket? Like, what are we doing? It's not like it's not Animal Crossing. You're not just throwing stuff like, there we go, put it in my pocket. It's like a LucasArts game. Oh my gosh. Amy, I wanted to ask you, we were talking about Emma before, and obviously Jane Austen's style of writing is very unique. But what makes this movie timeless? I was trying to figure out, like, what is it about this story? Why do we revisit Emma? There's a great adaptation of Emma this year that I absolutely loved. I thought it was really well done. It was incredibly funny and beautiful and just perfect. But why do we revisit this? Like, what about this film or the story is universal?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to answer in the universal, but I can definitely answer for me, which is, it makes me uncomfortable how much I relate to Emma and to Cher, to this character who walks through life thinking you're a good, happy person who contributes a lot, and realizes and has to realize and has to probably keep realizing your entire life, you could be doing better. There's something in the spirit of Emma and thinking in the quest for self-improvement, even if your life seems pretty okay, even if you're pretty likable, you have a very rad cat who's right here, you feel like you can go through your day time and time again. It's a message about not being oblivious, to what you have, to appreciate what you have, and also figure out more ways to share and to give and to not screw up, to not just like shrug and think your life is great. That's for me. I don't know. I don't know how you feel.
No, I think that we all probably have that, like this idea of like proper self-reflection. Like, I think we all view ourselves one way and we think we're doing our best, but it's a real challenge to look at ourselves and really, change course. I think that's a hard thing because it's easy to justify everything to yourself. And that's what I love about this story is you're getting to see a juxtaposition of what she's saying, what she's doing, and how other people treat her and how she treats other people. And, there's some sweetness there, but there's also like a little bit of a bulliness there. And the fact that she's pairing these teachers together, like, why does she have to do that? Like, she's taking it upon herself. That's really interesting. I made a mistake earlier. I said that when you showed that clip of her auditioning, when she was talking about the Haitians, that scene, I was like, oh, that's probably an audition scene. I just found out from the chat here that Alicia did not have to audition. She did not have to audition. She was just given the part right out of the music videos. This is kind of back in the day when I guess they were like, she's got the goods, bring her in, and this is a movie that may have not have ever been made. It was a TV show to start off with that Amy Heckerling couldn't sell. And then it through a whole bunch of different ways it got to Scott Rudin. Scott Rudin read it, he loved it, and he got it. And I think people weren't getting it because the language in the movie is a bit weird. They invented this slang, like the word Baldwin, which is not really a term, but then it became a term because of the movie. And a lot of studio executives thought, oh, there's too many female characters in this movie. Can we change some of the characters, make them more male? Not more male, just make them male. And this movie barely got made, but through the belief of a couple of key people. And then it comes out and it's a huge hit, much to everyone's chagrin. And I think, we're always constantly surprised when you have a female-fronted film. And a movie like this that actually, surprisingly, especially based on the AFI list, has people of color in it. Like, that's another thing. I feel like it's just not a white movie, which is also kind of amazing to see. and it does really well. And we're always surprised, whether it's Mean Girls, whether it's Sex and the City, you know, Girls Trip, we're like, oh, I guess people want to see women in movies. But yeah, I mean, you know, what is the reaction when this film comes out? Do you know at all?
Most people do really, really love this film. And I love everything that you're absolutely saying about it. You know, I think Amy Heckerling is such a dead-on director in the vision that she wanted to bring forth to the world. And it is nice to see people like Olivia Wilde try to figure out the spirit of this and how to carry it on. It's a tough act to follow, but I would love to see a gazillion films like this. However, I pulled a negative review from Entertainment Weekly, written by Owen Gleiberman, a man and a critic that I do adore very, very much. We are roommates when we go to Sundance every year for Variety. But this is what he had to say about Heathers. He said, the mixture of Heathers and Sandra Dee does not quite wash. It's like biting into a tamale and finding it filled with marshmallow fluff. What's more, the characters are so scrubbed of individuality that it's never remotely clear which guy Cher should end up with. The skateboarder, the smoothie who looks like George Michael's kid brother. No, she finally falls for her stepbrother, Paul Rudd, a twist so bizarre it makes you wonder if Heckerling is warming up for the Soon-Yi Previn story. Then again, this lover boy is such a bland mensch, to me he looked like a real Barney, that even the vague whiff of symbolic incest carries no weight. So Owen Gleiberman was not early on to the Paul Rudd appreciation train.
Well, you know, it's interesting. We talked about this earlier about this. It's a little weird, right? That she's with her stepbrother in this film. I think that we just take it for granted that they were together maybe a very short period of time. We never really get the facts on it. It seems like Paul Rudd's mom marries a lot of different men. It is odd. It is odd. Well, yeah, but here's the thing. I also thought it was odd that Paul Rudd's girlfriend, the girl he's like kind of making out with when Cher calls him from the Valley, is really irritated by Cher. It's like, this is my sister who's literally stuck in the Valley, like, and she treats her like an enemy. So the whole movie is a little askew when it comes to that, because it doesn't like position her like a kid's sister ever. Like they do a lot to kind of keep that at bay. It's, I would say, the oddest choice in the film. I mean, make him a next door neighbor, make him a family friend, you know, but to make him a stepbrother is odd. It is odd, and but they don't really drill it much more. Like he seems to come to visit every now and then. I don't know. It never really affected me, but when you think about it, like we talked about Big last week, it's weird. It ages in a weird way.
Okay, well then, as we're sort of winding up and we just kind of wrap up our last couple segments, I'm going to give audiences the time to kind of answer this question on their own in the chat, which is, do you out there think that Cher and Josh stay together? Like, what do you think happens at the end of this movie? I want to give people the time to answer that.
All right, I love that. And we can ask the question that we always ask. Is there Simpsons about Clueless?
There is kind of. There's an episode of The Simpsons from 1998 called Lard of the Dance. And in this episode, a new girl shows up in Springfield. Her name is Alex Whitney, and she is kind of a Cher dresser. She at least copies all of Cher's outfits, even though she's voiced by Lisa Kudrow, so her Cher energy isn't that strong, but her Cher look is absolutely dead on. What happens is when Alex Whitney shows up to school, she decides to make over everybody. Everybody starts getting fashionable. If you want to see Lisa Simpson put on a really sexy dress and wiggle around school, that is in this episode. It's a little bit uncomfortable. But here is where Alex takes people to the mall.
Okay, girls, we're gonna need balloons, crepe paper, party hats.
Whoa! You've got a Dingo Junction here?
I am not wearing this.
Oh, come on, Lisa. It's totally you. Just, add some accessories, lip gloss, maybe drop 5 pounds.
Aren't we a little young for makeup? And what do you mean 5 pounds?
Well, you want to look nice for your date.
Date?
Hello? For the dance?
You guys have dates? Hello? Stop saying hello.
Okay, calm down, Lisa. DMY.
What's DMY?
Don't mess yourself.
Ew.
Yeah, that's why we changed it to DMY.
Don't worry, Lisa. There's still plenty of time. You'll get a date.
I don't want a date. And I don't want to wear perfume and cocktail dresses. Am I the only one who just wants to play hopscotch and bake cookies and watch the McLaughlin Group? Hello? Hello?
I do want to give a warning to people of the internet. If you want to learn more about Alex Whitney and you Google her, the internet loves Alex Whitney, and I'll just leave kind of a PG-friendly one here.
Oh my gosh, too much, too much. Well, Amy, you asked the question that I'm going to answer for you right now. You said, do Cher and Josh stay together? And did you know that there's kind of a Clueless sequel?
Tell me more.
Okay. All right. So Clueless originally originated as a TV show, like I mentioned, and then it came back to TV. Rachel Blanchard took over the role of Cher, but most of the class stayed intact, including Wallace Shawn. Dan Hedaya did not. Michael Lerner took over his role. But this show is really interesting because it is not only filled with many, or I should say most of the actors in the film, but it's also a majority of the episodes were written and directed by Amy Heckerling. Like
Really?
more than one, like per season. Like Amy had her hands on this TV show. And I want to show you the future that she envisioned
I
for
didn't
Cher.
know
and the
that. I
continuing
never
adventures.
actually
This is-
saw the show.
This is from the pilot episode, which is actually not the pilot, but they aired it first, where you kind of see Cher and the classmates, and you get an idea of how they reintroduced Ty. And I'm going to tell you some other facts about it as we go, but I got a couple clips to kind of give you the Clueless sequel that you didn't know you needed. Here you go.
He's so sweet. Oh. My friend Ty is from New York. I keep trying to make her over, but she just keeps falling back apart. Oh, Ty, you're self-tan. Did you forget to use a moisturizer? I took a shower. Isn't that moisture? Exfoliate in the evening. I knew that zebra was in, but I didn't know we were taking it that far. Vacuum pack it, Amber. Maybe if I put more tanner on the white parts.
Oh, help me, Sean. Oh, Sean, help me. Sean, you didn't moisturize. You've gone stripey.
So a little clip of what is going on. That's written and directed by Amy Heckerling. The show looks a little more sitcom-y. And I want to say that obviously people like Paul Rudd didn't come back. She did have her stepbrother in the show, but that love interest was never reconnected. As a matter of fact, they kicked him off the show after the first season.
Kicked him off.
But I wanted to show, I wanted to kind of show you though how Paul Rudd shows up in the show. He comes up as a different character, also written by Amy Heckerling, directed by Amy Heckerling. He's a college student who he and Cher start kind of having a relationship. And this is a different character, but Paul Rudd and Cher, and enjoy.
Cher, I knew you were in high school, but I thought you were like 18. You seem so...
Mature.
I was gonna say tall. How old are you?
I just turned 16.
I'm almost 21.
Oh.
You've never been alone with a guy before, have you?
No. And I'm not really ready to go as far as you think I am. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We don't have to do anything. But Cher, I'm not one of those guys that goes out with a girl younger than he is so he can mold her into the type of girlfriend he needs. I think you should date somebody your own age.
I don't want to date guys my own age. They're stupid. They make fun of everything. They fight.
Well, I should tell you that I got accepted to Berkeley, and I'm going to go next semester. I'd still like to call you. I may see you when I come down.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, maybe if I get older, like I'm like 19 and you're 24, or I'm 18 and you're 23, then, we... Maybe.
How many Sonny and Chers are there?
So you're going to see a little different side of Cher.
What's with that sentimental music?
Oh, this TV show goes to some after-school special moments. There's an episode where Cher's dad loses all of his money. The first pilot episode, she fills in for a gossip columnist. There's a lot of ups and downs. I wanted to show you two more quick clips. And this is of Brittany Murphy, also not reprising her character, playing a different character, but she reprised this character multiple times on the show. And this is them taking a driver's test. Take a look.
There's always Jasmine. Hey, you!
you! Would you move it? I haven't got all day! Hey, speed racer, what? Waiting for the millennium?
Wow, Jasmine, you are so driving. You are totally roadworthy.
Grandma, shut your blind spot!
Now, Jasmine, you know the first rule of the road is courtesy.
I'm driving defensively.
You cut me off! Go back to Jersey!
So she's killing it there. Really funny character on the show, which is kind of great. And then finally, I wanted to show you a piece of the most important history. If we're kind of in the same age group. Cher Horowitz has a special friend. Her name is Sabrina, the Teenage Witch. And here's the crossover that you've been wanting to see. So check it out.
So let me go through this one more time. You're telling me you've been at school since September? Oh, this is so spooky. I don't remember seeing you here, and I know everyone.
What, Sherry? Think I just snapped my fingers and magically appeared? As if.
There you go. Clueless, you get to see the sequel that's out there. And I think it is a sequel in a way, because Amy wrote and directed these episodes. I never thought, when I was doing the research, I was going to be like, oh, let's make fun of this show. It's so crazy. It's so not her vision. It is her vision. Like, she is hands-on, and she got most of the cast to come in, except for Alicia. And Bronson Pinchot plays a school teacher that she has a crush on in episode 7, which is great. They recast the dad in season 2, but it was on for basically like 60 episodes. There's a lot of episodes here. It went from like ABC to UPN. Moesha shows up in an episode, or she's at least called out in the Scream episode. So if you want, they're all on YouTube, and you can kind of live a little bit more of a Clueless life. There you go.
That is insane. This seems designed to teach kids that characters are not real, right? Like, you need to understand that these characters are fantasy, that there is no real Ty. We were going to make Ty like a crazy, as somebody's writing in the comments, some sort of like Fast and Furious Vin Diesel, Ty Diesel.
I love it. Well, but that also is not Ty. That's a different character she's totally creating there.
It's not Ty. It's not Ty.
So Amy, this has been so fun talking to you, besides our little technical hiccup at the top. We want to keep on doing these spool parties. We want to keep on going. And I want to just give a shout out, first of all, to Kim Troxall, who designs all of our amazing graphics. That weight screen that you saw at the top, probably for longer than you wanted to, was designed by her. She does all of our art that you see popping up every week. And the music at the top of the show was Devin, our engineer, who's running the scenes behind the scenes right now. But we wanted to ask you,
a hypnotic cult with that music.
We wanted to see what you want to see on a spool party. Should we reveal maybe what our next spool party is going to be? Because we do know that one.
Do we? We've been kicking around a few ideas. My brain is all on the idea of like films that are like about housebound people going crazy. So I've been thinking about Home Alone or House Party or Whatever Happened to Baby Jane are some things I think would be fun. But I want to hear what other people want to see.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the mood for House Party as well. But why don't you leave it in the comments? We'll be looking to see what our next spool party is. And it will be not next Monday, but the Monday after. We'll try to do this every other Monday. Someone's bringing up an interesting point that Bronson Pinchot dated Amy Heckerling. And that's why he was on the actual pilot of the Clueless show.
Ah, I did not know. Secret love affairs.
Yeah, there we go.
I love that. If people are loving Becca Weber, they want to see some more Becca Weber. I love seeing Becca Weber's face.
Yeah, so we just want to have you guys keep on writing in, telling us what you want to see. Fun movies that wouldn't necessarily belong on the list. And we were kind of drawing the distinction of like Die Hard is a movie that I believe should maybe go on the AFI list, or at least be debated on that list. Whereas Home Alone, I couldn't make that case as strongly. So it's sort of the movies that are fun. People are now saying like Airplane and Baby Jane, House Arrest, Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day is one I may argue could be on the list. Earth Girls are easy. This is great.
Ooh, Grey Gardens. I like that suggestion. But Paul, I mean, the costumes we can come up with for Grey Gardens.
Oh my gosh. Coming to America, a great one. Coming to America, which is A great fun movie. I think I would love to do Coming to America on this show. That would be so much fun. Princess Bride. These are all great suggestions. We're going to pick one, and we're going to keep on doing this and keep on telling us. You can tweet at us. You can join us on Facebook. Kate Littleton runs an amazing Facebook group that had a
Very
great
much.
trivia contest. You can get on there and let us know what you're thinking, because we like to do this. Back to the Future, The Burbs, Joe versus the Volcano, which was originally going to be one of the ones we were going to do. This is so great. I hope you enjoyed this little tribute to Clueless. And if you enjoy this, definitely check out our podcast, Unspooled. We have about 90 episodes. We kind of break it down in every different way. Oh, Gross Point Blank. Yes. Adventures in Babysitting. Yes. I want to do all these. So we'll be back. We'll be back soon. Amy, always a pleasure. Thank you to our guests, Ronna Glickman, AKA Jessica Chaffin. So
the
great.
phenomenal Becca Weber. Becca, we adore you.
So thank you all for tuning in tonight, and we will see you on the next Unspooled Spool Party live stream. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.